Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us here. My name is Michelle. I'm going to be your MC for today's speakers here on stage one. I hope everybody's having a great time here at WebEx conference. Yeah, I see some nods. Ooh, yeah. I hope you were able to relax and recharge last night. Yeah, it was a big day yesterday. Yeah, lots of exciting announcements and insights into the industry, but we are going to keep that momentum today. But before we get into our first session here, let me just do a quick reminder here. Those headsets on your chair, those are great to keep you focused on the content here. So go ahead and utilize them if you want. On-off switch is on the headset, and then the volume is on the little unit. Also, yeah, keep visiting with all the booths here in the middle of the show floor and engage with the fun stuff right here. We got the headshots being taken. I hear they're really good quality, so if you haven't done that, do that. Also, we got our final keynote today at 3 p.m. featuring Robert De Niro and Jane Rosenthal, so don't want to miss that either. Okay, let's go. Who are your end users? And what if your end users were passengers on a vacation on a cruise ship? Talk about high expectations, right? But it's also a great opportunity to increase communication with those passengers. So joining us now, we're going to learn how Cisco has raised the bar for Carnival Cruise Line passengers. Welcome, Head of Innovation of Messaging Strategies, CPaaS, Rami Riyadh. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Hi, everybody. Today, my name is Rami Riyadh. I head our Innovation and Messaging Strategy group for CPaaS. And a little bit later on today, Marcus will be joining us from Carnival Cruise Lines to talk about how they're using some of the technology. But I'd like to start everybody really quick with a Slido poll. So if you guys grab your phones up, scan the QR code because it will feed into the next question that I have. So really, the question is, how many channels do you use today to communicate with businesses as a consumer? Right? Is it 2 to 3 channels, more than 4, 1 channel? It's coming close. So it looks like a lot of people are using more than 1 channel to communicate with a business throughout their daily interactions as a consumer. This really comes down to this. There's a cycle that we all go through, whether it's from starting our engagement with purchasing an item to customer service requests to loyalty to having just the whole spectrum of the engagement with the consumer as an enterprise. We go through phases, right? I can order a product from one part of the business, then it's getting delivered, so I'm getting my delivery notifications, but then I have an issue with a separate item, so I'm calling customer service to say, well, my other product is not working or whatever. So we're engaging with the enterprise in a lot of different touch points and in different areas, and we could use different channels for it. So we can pick up the phone to call customer service versus getting a text notification. So we use more than 1 channel today to engage with our customers. Customers now actually demand to do much more with more channels. Like 83% of customers are looking to buy products directly in the messaging app. Rather than going to the website or talking to someone or going to the store, they'd like to have that engagement digital. And 40% of consumers prefer self-service rather than if there's an alternative to not speaking to an agent or going to the store to do that. And 63% of consumers are interested in receiving personalized recommendations from the business to their messaging app. Like we feel that personal connection from the business when they say, hey, Rami, your order is delayed actually. We're setting your expectation that your order has been a delay in your order. Here's your new expected date. It actually makes it more personal for that business to engage with. And more importantly, and this is the question we asked, it's being where your customer's at. Today, we engage through different surfaces and different entry points with business, whether we're going shopping from like Google Shopping, whether we're on social media. Like, I think it's fair to say if a brand's not Instagram, they're not cool enough to interact with. So if you're not engaging on Instagram with your consumers, then you're missing out on a huge segment of your audience that are actually there talking about you, tagging you. So why not have the ability to talk back to them? And now we're seeing more and more locations. It used to be where I go to Maps to find, or I go Google search for where's the nearest pharmacy location. And then if the option is call, website, or directions. Well, if there's a fourth option to say, why not chat with us and start a conversation there? There you can ask about, you guys have toilet paper in stock? I want a question about this, I want a question about that. It really becomes an engaging conversation more than just picking up the phone and talking to someone. And of course, receiving proactive notifications from the businesses saying that whether your package has been delivered, whether there's a delay, and setting the right expectations for the consumer. And then finally, picking up the phone and calling someone for customer support. A lot of us don't want to wait for an hour on the phone to speak to a live agent. So why not engage with them on a digital channel to start the engagement there, get a live agent inside the messaging application itself to try to resolve the issue that I'm having. And then also these channels, they're cool, they're nice, but they offer a lot more richer engagement from our consumer perspective, right? Whether they're easier to discover because they're on the surfaces that you're already using today, they're secure, they're verified. We're all now getting used to that verified check mark to actually know that we're really talking to the business and it wasn't a fraud case or someone trying to get my information or get me to click on a link in an SMS. We had an offsite earlier this year, and I put on the screen 2 messages that were coming to consumers in the UK, and I asked the team, which one's a real message? And they both looked very close to each other, and the biggest differentiator between these two was the URL that it was coming from was gov.uk, which was the official URL that the UK government uses. The other one had a different URL, that's how it was. So they were so close to each other that a lot of people couldn't differentiate them apart. So now having that secure, verified checkmark coming in from the business, it gives the users more confidence that they're actually speaking to the business, especially if it's your bank, if it's your insurance company, some of these critical communications that you receive. And of course, I have fat fingers. So when I type a response and I say yes, I tap 2 S's, and then the worst response you can get back is, sorry, we didn't understand this. So tapping yes to move to the next prompt makes it very intuitive for customers to move from one spot to the other in the conversation. And then finally, having the ability to speak to a live agent when things are not going right in an automated flow and not having to leave that. So you've been on a chat with a customer care, where you've been going through that experience with the bot for like, let's say an hour, right? And then something is not going right. And you say, sorry, there's a problem, we need to connect you to someone. Here, call this 800 number and wait for another hour. That's not the experience we want to give users. So now you can actually engage with a live agent inside the messaging conversation without having to wait for making an outbound call and waiting for your turn again in queue. We're going to touch really quick on a couple of quick channels. So RCS really is starting to pick up speed globally, and we're seeing countries where they've achieved more than 50% penetration in the market. And it's really the evolution of SMS. It's the new default messaging client on Android devices going forward, and it gives you a lot more richer interaction. You get the verified check mark, you get the chips, you get the cards. One of our customers in the UK, Smarty, has been using RCS to engage with their consumers, and they're getting a 500% uplift in campaign engagement, 100% increase in engagement over email, and their Trustpilot they're getting 70% more 5-star reviews for their Trustpilot scores. So it made a huge difference for them. WhatsApp. I know we don't think a lot about WhatsApp in the United States, but it's actually gaining tremendous momentum in the United States for growing. I don't know if we can share the stats, but over a quarter of the US population is now using WhatsApp to engage. And there are certain regions within even the US where that penetration's up 70, 80%, depending on where you are. But globally, WhatsApp has been a global player for a long time, and people are using it every day to communicate with their friends and family. So now businesses are communicating over WhatsApp. Centrica, which is British Gas, have been using WhatsApp to communicate with their customers, and over 13,000 customers are using the service within the first week of launching. 5% are now deflecting to WhatsApp from other channels, and over 1,300 agents are serving customers, and that jumped through over the couple of years that we launched with them over digital channels. And then Facebook. A lot of us use Facebook as a newsfeed, but also Facebook is a great way to put a rant out about a business and complain about them. So why not being able to take these comments and message back, hey, we heard your complaint. How can we help you make this right? You can engage on Facebook Messenger. You can engage on some of these channels. But there's also what we saw, MSI. MSI helps women in Africa for making choices about reproductive choices and how to engage with them. And a lot of these conversations they didn't want to have over the phone. So they launched Facebook Messenger to speak to someone live and have an engagement. 2.6 million messages were handled by MSI through WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger. And they've increased their contact center from 2 to 20 in just 2 years to handle some of the incoming requests and queries that were coming on. And they had a 70% improvement in their call answer rate because of launching on some of these digital channels. So I'm not going to bore you guys with slides. Today we have Marcus joining us from Carnival Cruise Lines, and we'll talk a little bit more about what they're doing. Marcus, if you can welcome us on stage.
Thank you, thank you. How are you? How you doing? Tommy. Nice to be here.
Welcome.
Well, thank you, thank you.
So Marcus, if you could just give us a quick introduction of who you are and what you do with Carnival.
Yeah, at Carnival Cruise Line, I work with the specific team of in the contact center, work on application support and development. And there's a specific team out there that is doing, walking the customer through the journey of taking a cruise. So how many have taken a cruise before, been on Carnival? How many in the virtual world have taken a cruise? Hopefully, yeah. So what happens is the cruise is not so simple. You know, there's a lot of components to the cruise where location, cabin size, what there's to do. And a group of agents that we have that are focusing on this are called personal vacation planners. And they are assigned to the customer and then walk them through the journey of booking a cruise, helping them with questions, walking them through the final payment, and all the way till they sail. And it's almost giving you now a personal contact at Carnival. If anything goes wrong with your cruise or you want to have a question, now you have a personal contact that you kind of build a relationship with, and that relationship tends to last if you choose to go again and again and again. So it's working with that team at Carnival to create customer engagement.
That's great, and you guys have a history with SMS and starting from SMS and moving to digital channels. Can you share some of these successes that you guys seen with messaging and how that shaped the business for you guys?
Yeah, this team, of course, is very phone call centric, right? We've been around for a long time helping customers, plan the cruises and holding their hand and walking them through the experience and the journey. But, and phone call, primary way to get a hold of people, right? And of course, as everybody knows, no one picks up the phone anymore, right? Unless you know exactly who they are. So having the relationship with Webex Connect gives us an opportunity to introduce a new communication channel to the customer and give them the opportunity to communicate where they want to. And what we've seen with that is when you try to reach out to customers with a phone call alone, the contact rates are very low. They're 6%, 9%, 12% over time. And when you combine that with an SMS communication and then a phone call, the contact rates are now skyrocketing. 40%, above 30% to 40% contact rate on that. Eventually, we want to get them on the phone because we're not at the point where we're going to do the whole sale of a cruise in SMS communications, but it leads to getting the person engaged with us, then we get them on the phone, and that's the most important part of what we're trying to accomplish is get that person to communicate with the sales agent.
That's great. I think that's really interesting to see how you guys are using more than one channel to combine to get a better output.
Yeah, absolutely.
When you and I talked, I think, about this, you mentioned social selling. So if you can just tell us how social selling helped and what is social selling and how did it work for Carnival Cruise Lines?
Yeah, so again, we want to put the sales agent in as many opportunities as they can to meet the customer where they want to be met and also give them a chance to build these communities where people interact with each other and they interact with the sales agent that's administering the Facebook group. That turns into communication flows through WebEx, which allows management to see productivity metrics in there, like how many people are engaging with you in your Facebook group, and that turns into social selling. So not only do they have the opportunity to contact people through the phone, now we have SMS, and now the third channel is Facebook social selling, and that's all done to the agents. These are private groups that you join when you build that relationship with the agent. Now you're part of a community that you can ask questions. There's feedback going on there. And that has proven to be an extremely successful channel, to engage with customers and have them engage with each other. So not only is it successful, we're promoting it, and we love for them to participate. We can't force everybody to do it because it takes a certain amount of a certain person to manage a Facebook group. But for those that participate, they get the hang of it. We try to train them. They post information on there, and we provide some content for them to get that Facebook group going. So it's been pretty successful as that channel.
What kind of, like, we all use Facebook for groups and talking to people and talking to friends and family. What kind of value did you guys get, and what insights can you share from these groups with the PVPs using them?
We again, it's about building those separate communities where customers can engage with each other and the agent. We also, start looking at the metrics of that group and then also target them in a separate fashion once we start understanding, these are the people that we can target in other campaigns. So it benefits us in a lot of different ways. The name gets out there. These groups generally are ranging from 1,000 to 6,000 people each. They have members, and so it really promotes the brand and awareness, within those groups itself. So that's a really good benefit to reach a lot of people with little effort on the sales agent's behalf.
That's great. And what made you guys make that decision? Like, what was the driving factor behind going with Facebook and Facebook Messenger and communicating, and adopting some of these new digital channels?
It all goes back to, we gotta evolve with, the times, right? So we can't just rely on the phones, right? We're generally phone-centric. That's all we did. We're really good at phone calls and getting people on the phones. That now is changing. So we have to introduce new ways to communicate with customers where they want to be. That involves phone calls, it involves SMS, and it involves Messenger and Facebook. So those are the channels that we currently have, and we're very happy with the success that they're giving us. And again, it's to encourage customer engagement, putting the customer where they want to meet their agent in the channel that they choose.
We talk a lot about success, right? What were the biggest challenges that you guys had rolling this out?
Well, I guess when you introduce anything new to a sales group of people, it's kind of difficult to get them to buy into the program, right? Some of them are doing very well, and now you're saying, hey, you should engage with your customers via SMS. And they, said, I don't want to, So it's trying to get them to, understand that it's not that you don't want to, this is where the customer wants to be, and we need a way for, to facilitate that interaction. We don't want you doing it on your personal cell phone because that's what was kind of being done and comfortable for them, but it's non-compliant. It's, you don't want, someone in Carnival to have your personal information or your cell phone on their phone. So it's bringing it into the network. So some of the challenges are getting user adoption, but once they start seeing the contact rates and the engagement that goes up, they bought in very quickly. So that, was the biggest challenge. Other challenges is that we have a unique setup with Carnival, and Webex and your team did a fantastic job in customizing our use case to what our need is. We have a little bit of a different model. It's not a queue-based model where any agent picks up an incoming MMS. It's one-to-one relationship with a specific person, and that took some customization, and that was one of our biggest challenges to make sure that the CRM that we're using links to the SMS and routes the messages correctly to the correct agent. And once we solved for that, it was smooth sailing, and now with the results of engagement being higher with the customer, agents bought in.
We heard a lot about AI the last 2 days. How are you guys planning on using AI, or what are your goals of using more of the automation and AI tools that we're talking about into this experience and bringing it to your customers?
AI is a hot topic, and we want to eliminate the workforce. No, we don't. We want to assist the workforce. So we like it to be digital and then live and then digital again. So we're looking at AI as a component to assist and create efficiencies for our sales agent, right? Self-service when they don't need to, like simple questions that the automation that AI can handle, and then an interaction between AI and the agent, so that it's seamless to the end user, and not letting them, letting them know that this is my personal virtual assistant, and at any time they can talk to the agent. So it's more creating an efficiency for the agent and using that technology to give the guests the self-service that they need.
So having it more of an assistant to the actual agent where that matters, that an agent is speaking to the customer, the agent's available and leaving the more simple questions for automation?
Absolutely. The AI is going to help them because unfortunately they're not 24 hours. So we need the customer is we don't want them to wait. So we feel AI is going to absolutely assist in at round the clock, whenever the customer needs to reach out to that sales agent, whether it's after hours or at 2 in the morning, that an AI can assist there with simple transactions or questions or anything that can help them at that point.
What's next?
We're really excited. I think we just at the ground level of where we need to be with our next innovations. So definitely we're looking at virtual assistants. We're looking at rich text, videos, self-service options for the customer. A lot of different adding additional communication channels such as WhatsApp, which is we have an Australia team, and that's a big component for them out there. So only getting started, and we're looking forward to enhancing the experience for the customer with WebEx and the interactions that they're seeing within the platform.
That's great. Thank you so much, Marcus, for joining us today. And I think if you guys have any questions, I think we'll be around after to help answer some of these questions. Thanks, Marcus.
Thank you, guys. Yeah. See you on the seas. All right.
Thanks, man. Just before we go, there's a Slido survey. If you guys fill out the survey after the session, that would be great. And thank you, guys.